Okay. Greetings, Johnny Gonzalez, aka Upside Down Consciousness. And I have some amazing news. I just gave birth to a beautiful, beautiful baby boy this Saturday at 11:32 p.m. Was such an amazing experience. Along with that, it happened in the most miraculous way possible. And I want to share my story because, in my opinion, in order for a shift to happen in the world and with our societies and the way humanity is we have to prepare our future generations. When I look at this whole process of changing who you are, healing yourself, correcting mistakes in yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, it's all a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's not just one thing and not the other. It's an accumulative of awareness that is presented in your own individual life. That is the most important concept to understand when you're trying to improve your circumstances in life, whatever that may be. So, back to this Saturday. I don't even know where to start, but I'll start 9 months ago when I first decided to have a baby. I knew that being a father has been a big part of my overall development. And it also has been the missing link to understanding the roots of healing have to go back to your childhood. So being a parent, you don't want to put yourself in a position that your kids suffer because of your ignorance, because of your lack of understanding, because of your lifestyle choices that were passed on from your parents. It goes on. It's a cycle of limited knowledge that keeps going down because the parent who conceives and brings life into this earth, because they haven't grown, because they haven't changed. And I'm not referring to physically or what you do for a job or what you do for an income source, how much things you acquire in your lifetime. No, I'm talking about the deep-rooted connection to life, to source, to divinity, the process of life through a natural nature perspective, the source that that takes on this body and lives and experiences life. Like, this shit gets deep. Sometimes so deep that you start talking about these things and people, they can't comprehend it because they're in a position of being programmed in a reality that is structured and established for us to only acquire so much knowledge or little knowledge as in the opposite. So I wanted to really make a difference with bringing in a new child into this world. So it came back to a partner. Now, I have 3 baby mamas. I love them. I'll always care for them. They're always going to be the mother of my children. But when I went into this birth, I wanted a mother who was living the same lifestyle, who believed in a higher calling aside from the materialistic and physical realm that we live in. And I also wanted an aware individual who would be open to doing things completely different from society. So I went into that with that understanding and decided to bring a creation into this world. We talked about the natural birth. We talked about what I wanted from a child and what were my intentions. And this was all pre-planned. During the pregnancy, she ate a certain way, she lived a certain way, she performed things that were in alignment with cleaning out her own vessel, strengthening her organs and glands, and removing obstructions from the body, understanding that the lymphatic system of hers would be the child's. So there was a lot of pre-planning involved with this. Parental guidance was also a big factor because we live in a society that's corrupt. People think that these lifestyle choices and how they live and what they watch on TV and what they do with their free time, like all of that is not in alignment with personal growth. It's not in alignment with understanding yourself, understanding nature, understanding the laws of the universe. It's about leisure, fun, entertainment to distract you from what's really your value and your purpose in this life. That shit gets deep right there if you really think about it like that. Well, we did our X's and O's and found a game plan and went through it. It was a good experience. A lot took place in that time. And as the time got closer to pregnancy, it was starting to get more real. Well, on Thursday of last week, she was admitted into the hospital and went through all the standard tests, and I had gone over there and I was with her for a day, and it was just awful. And I could not imagine being in there and giving birth. And we talked with the doctors about having a lotus birth, which I'll get more into. And I had to go through all these obstacles with talking to doctor to going through the policies of the hospital. There was a lot invested before we even had the child. Each doctor had no idea what a lotus birth was. They were against it. They tried to demean the presented information and research on the topic, but none of them have ever experienced it in the 29 years of one individual's practice and then the 17 years of the second physician that we spoke with. And they've never dealt with anything of this sort. So it just goes to show that this information is not available, but it is there. Well, they did not approve of it, and they said that they were not going to abide by it. And I told her, let's go, we gotta get the hell out. So we left. Saturday at around 9:30, her water broke. And I got the phone call. I said, okay, I'm coming over. We prepared a section in the house that we were gonna perform it, and we started to just ride the contractions. And I remember sitting there and I'm just like, and she's looking at me and she's like, well, do something. And I'm like, I'm not the one giving birth. I'm just here for your support. But it was starting to get real. Well, the contractions continued. Ride it out, breathe through it. If you feel like you have to push, push. It was starting to get more intense for her, and she started to get afraid. Now, I want to bring this up because this isn't just a simple, oh, okay, let me just switch doctors, let me just change this to this. This begins to get real when you have pain, when you have aching, and when you have the thinking of, oh my God, what's going to happen if this, so much, the monkey mind could take place. So I just knew that we had to approach this delicately. And I expressed to her, look, I understand that I'm not in your position and I can't vouch for what you're going through, but I'll respect what you want to do. If you want to go to the hospital, we'll go to the hospital. If you feel you can't partake in this. So there was not that, oh, you have to do this and this is the only, because I said it has to go. No, this was a unity decision. And at some point she said, look, I don't know if I can do with this. And I said, okay, well then let's go to the hospital. And then I said, we got to get you in the car now. I can't get in the car. There's no way. I'm like, well, I guess I'm calling an ambulance. So I get on the phone and I call an ambulance and I express what's happening and what's going on. They say they're on their way, they're coming. I tell her, okay, just keep riding. If you get a contraction, just breathe through it. About 10 minutes later, knock at the door comes. And I walk to the door and it's a police officer saying that our paramedic is on the way. And I walk back to tell her about it. And then all of a sudden she's like, I think he's coming. And I'm like, okay. So I go and she's on all fours and I go behind her and behold, there's a little crown of a head. And I'm like, uh-oh. So I said, okay, I can see him, let's do this. So contraction occurs and she starts pushing. Now, as this is happening, mind you, the paramedics are walking in and they're just wielding the transferring unit, and as they're coming in, the baby's starting to come out. So I remember seeing his little head, and then I saw his eyebrows and his eyes, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. And then I said, okay, another one, start breathing, breathe, push. His little head pops out, boop! And I put my hand underneath his head and I kind of like push again, and then she starts pushing, and then I see the shoulders and I get my hand underneath him and he's coming out. Next thing you know, there's my little son in my hands. And I remember talking to him, and everything that was occurring was a blank. Nothing mattered at that time. And I remember just speaking to him and telling him, you did it, you did a good job, and cleaning his eyes and propping him up to get him to cry. And it was such a beautiful experience, and it's something that I'll cherish above most things in my life. For that experience was something that is how everybody should experience their child's birth, in my opinion now. Well, the paramedics are like talking amongst themselves and trying to figure what's gonna happen, because everyone's like, what's going on? So hey, look it, thank you for coming, but we took care of this. So they had to call the doctor and get clearance to basically say, hey, you're liable, and et cetera, and they left. And I remember just holding him that whole time, and his eyes were already open, and he was looking around, and he cried a little bit once everybody was gone. And it was just something that was beautiful. It truly was. Now, we decided to keep the umbilical cord intact and also have it attached to the placenta. Now, that is what you call a lotus birth. Now, the lotus birth concept is basically that the blood, oxygen, and nutrients that the baby is receiving, including stem cells, come from the placenta and are feeding the baby while it is inside of the mother. Along with that, the placenta and the baby are also assisting the mother through the process as well of helping to grow the baby and provide it with what it needs. Well, when you cut that umbilical cord, you're cutting off that source of life that the baby is receiving from that. Modern medicine believes that at that point it's medical waste and it's irrelevant, and this is why they cut it and they take it. But they don't tell you that they take it and they save it and then they sell it or they get rid of it, because that has so much life in it. As I mentioned, stem cells can become any cells in the body, and this is why they're so highly used nowadays, especially because it has significant value in it. Now, when you keep that intact, that those vital source of energy of life is still coming through to the baby, and naturally it will fall off on its own, or it'll shrivel up to a position where you can just take it off yourself. But you're depriving your baby of that oxygen and blood that it needs for it to complete the process of creation. But most individuals have not been told this. So when we dealt with the family and whatnot, they wanted no part in it. They were against it. Hell, I even have, I won't say names, but people that won't even come see him because of this, because of the method that we chose to do. Which, hey, you know what? Like anything, people are at level of consciousness and there's no judgment. But if the alignment isn't there, just disregard it and take your attention away from it and focus on your own life. It's a simple principle of the laws of nature and of the universe that, hey, that's okay. Don't dwell on it. Don't have negative emotion or anger towards it. It's all right. Well, he has been amazing. He slept good the whole night. He has color to him that is, it's so beautiful. And I just want to bring out the point of trusting in the process of the natural laws of the universe. And I use that as a broad, you could term it however you want, God, divinity, but I keep it in that spectrum of it's everything, because this is life. Life energy flows through everything. It's continuous. It never stops. It's always progressing through. Well, he has so much awareness. His awareness is just that of, and I'm not just speaking of like, oh, his eyes are open and he's looking around. I'm just saying you could just sense it from him. It has been a great experience nonetheless, and I recommend anybody that really wants to make a difference in their child's life to do their own research, because that's immediate pain that they experience. That cut of life source that they're getting, that's emotional trauma that they'll carry for the rest of their lives. And you're going all the way to the very beginning. It's something that I don't expect everyone to just believe me. As I mentioned, you have to do your own research. This wasn't just something that, oh, I read it in a magazine, now I'm doing it. No, this was, I've as an individual, I've prepared myself for this and I grew to this. So with that being said, I hope that each of you, hold on, let this truck go by because it's pretty loud. I hope that each of you take this information and hopefully it helps and assists you if you're deciding on an alternative to traditional birth. Highly recommend it. I look forward to seeing what happens in the future with this, because it, in my opinion, has already been so different. And I feel more confident it's really just something that I do feel that this next generation of individuals, of children who will be born in this way and raised a certain way and not taught how to eat all these foods that destroy the body and practice these lifestyles that are of a destruction to the mind and to the spirit, who are not vaccinated, who are not abiding by the corrupted system of that we partake in and live in. And that is something that, I mean, I boldly say that, hey, I plan on having 20, 30, 40 kids, because I do believe that as a parent, I can give my children what they need to excel at a higher frequency of awareness and of life, and follow these laws that we at some point in our history abided by but got away from. So I hope you enjoyed it. Much love to you all. Take care.